Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. So this video is about time, and it's going to be the first of a series of videos that I'm going to do based on my deep dives and insights that I've had about the constructs that make up what we call reality. And we're going to start with time. Essentially, everything that underpins our society is made up. This is the realization I've come to. It is totally, utterly made up. And we've just subscribed to these ideas. And so we have this concept of linear time, which suggests that time moves in a line and you move from one point to the next along the line. And we have what's called years, which they've just decided to split into 12 months, and then months will be made of days, and that days will be split into 24-hour segments, and those hours that make up the 24 would be 60 minutes long, and then the minutes would be 60 seconds long. So you've got this division going on. But who decided how they were going to separate out all of this? Like, who decided that a day would be 24 segments? Why is it 24 segments? Is there any actual reason for that? Or is it just that people decided as a way of creating a structure that they would split those days up into 24 segments? I don't know. But when you actually dive down on this, you can't really find any reason why this happened. It just was. It's just something that was plucked out of nowhere, and the whole world has just subscribed to this. I mean, it's crazy. And what I want you to do now is to imagine that you've never seen a clock before. Okay, you've never seen a calendar. You have no concept of linear time, of dates, of days of the week. I want you to really, really focus here and make sure that you're not being influenced by this concept. And it's literally just a concept. What would your direct experience be if you just lived out in nature and you never heard of linear time? What would you experience? And I had fun with this. So if you want to, pause the video and just have a think yourself, because I'm going to tell you what I believe I would experience. And you have to keep reinforcing this idea that you've never heard of it, that you've never ever heard of linear time. What would you actually experience? And what I boiled it down to was, I would notice that there was a pattern of darkness and light, darkness and light, darkness and light, and that it was just a reoccurring pattern. And so I would notice that this was a constantly resetting and repeating pattern. So it's actually cyclical. It's a circular shape in terms of the fact that you start at one place and you end up back where you started. And you have a series of other circular patterns on top of that. You have what we call a year, which is really just another cycle, because you have the seasons. And if you start in one season, if you keep going round, eventually you'll come back to that same season that you started from. So what I would experience is that time does not move. It's actually static. And we just have this consistent resetting of cycles. So every new year, what we call a year, is actually just a brand new cycle. It's not that we've moved forward, it's just the cycle resetting again. And so anything and everything can happen in that resetted cycle. So the content within each cycle will change dramatically and will be very varied. But the actual time itself doesn't move, it just resets. So I would just be witnessing these cyclical patterns. And it's very interesting, because if this is the case, and that actually time doesn't move forward, then it gets rid of this idea that there's a past and that there's a future. And how much control and how much manipulation and how much fear comes from the idea that there is a future. Okay, and because we've invested in this idea of linear time, we often take what we've experienced within the cycle of a day, for example, and we carry that into the new cycle, the next day, which is actually just the day resetting again. But we carry those narratives forward so it can appear like there is a progression. But in truth, what you actually have when you strip everything away is just this repeating, ever repeating, static present moment when you boil it right down. Which is a fascinating thing to look at, because it means that actually all sources of fear are meaningless, because there is actually no future and there is no past. It's just a cycle resetting itself constantly. So that's the conclusion I came to. Let me know what you think. But it's so fascinating, isn't it, to think about how the world would be without any construct of linear time. It would be immensely freeing. I think it would be brilliant. But let me know what you think and what you imagine when you do this exercise. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.